As the world prepares for a Gervonta Davis vs Ryan Garcia fight, it looks like it's gonna be an electrifying one for sure. But does Gervonta believe Ryan Garcia is crazy to think he can beat him? Well, apparently Davis thinks so. With one Garcia already down, Gervonta Davis is all set to beat a second one. At least he thinks he can. Fresh after beating Hector Luis Garcia through a 9th-round stoppage on January 7th, we can understand why Davis would feel this confident. As for the second Garcia, he seems to be waiting in the wings for now. Gervonta Tank Davis is all set to face Garcia number 2 on April 15th. This is gonna be one hell of a fight, so you better clear your calendars. They're about to headline a Showtime pay-per-view card in what's being called one of the most anticipated boxing events of the year. I definitely have some high expectations. The two American boxing stars have been building up this whole will they won't they situation for the better part of 3 years. Comparatively, Ryan Garcia has been the more vocal one out of the two.
First, before I want to say anything, I want to look up above and thank God, my Father in heaven,
practically pounding the table to get a chance to beat the knockout champ. Now, the two boxing stars hold some stellar records, with Davis at 28-0, 26 knockouts, and Garcia at 23-0, 19 knockouts. I'm pretty excited to see who comes out on top for this one.
I'm telling you, I may not speak Spanish, but I got the Mexican blood in me, and that's all that matters.
But did you know who seems a lot more excited? Ryan Garcia, who thinks he can knock Davis out in 2 rounds.
I'm not going back down to 135 for nothing, but I will fight Tank next.
Garcia claims that the Baltimore-bred boxing star has never actually had to face any real adversity or risk in the ring.
If Tank wants that at 140, I'm gonna record all the negotiations so you guys don't make no headlines saying I'm ducking.
That's quite a heavy statement to make about your opponent. Now, Davis, on the other hand, believes that Ryan has a case of high hopes.
If it's up to me, Ryan definitely next.
He called Garcia a fighter and stated that fighters tend to think very highly of themselves and have a tendency to speak highly as well.
We just waiting for, Ryan to accept on his side and let's get the job done.
I told you the tension between these two is almost tangible. That makes this upcoming match even more exciting for me.
Because that's gonna give me the respect I deserve, and I'm never afraid, I'm trying to tell you.
But Davis also believes that Ryan may definitely be putting in the work as well, and that it's not all just talk.
I have a spirit of competition in me, and you're gonna see that come out when I fight Tank.
Interesting. Currently, the 24-year-old boxer is not taking any other fights and choosing to put all his focus on the Davis match.
Viva Mexico, let's go!
This is something that Davis hasn't overlooked either. The former unified super featherweight world champion said that he has to make sure he's prepared, either more or just as much as Garcia to come out as the winner. Wise thinking, Gervonta. Earlier in January, Garcia was all set to prepare for a stay-busy fight, but eventually chose not to move forward with his match with Mercedo Gesta. Do you think that was a smart move on his part to keep a laser focus on prepping for the fight with Davis? I think he's definitely coming off as a little intimidating, but the question is Gervonta Davis intimidated by all this prep? The American professional boxer laughed. Yes, he actually laughed at the notion that Garcia would be able to stop him in just 6 minutes. While Garcia seems determined to KO his opponent in 2 rounds, Davis doesn't seem to be too worried. He called the prediction of being beaten in 2 rounds crazy and claimed that he didn't know what Ryan thought when he made such a claim. Now, Gervonta, as good as he is, has not really been fighting anyone with the power to match Ryan Garcia's over the last 10 years of his pro career. So maybe there's some truth to Garcia's claims of not facing real adversity in the ring. Perhaps other former boxing champions can shed some light on what they think will happen in the upcoming match. And what do you know? George Kambosos Jr. had a rather interesting analysis. Now, the former unified lightweight champ isn't entirely sure if all the inactivity that Ryan Garcia has had to focus on this one fight against Davis is a good thing or not. Kambosos claimed that if it were him, he surely would have taken up the fight against Gesta to stay sharp and focused before facing Tank Davis. I think I kinda agree with him there. Now, Ryan may have chosen not to fight Gesta as a means to stay focused, but boxing fans took it in a different light. Most boxing fans claim that Garcia knows he doesn't have a chance of winning. Choosing to just sit and wait for the fight to happen in April is coming off way differently than Garcia intended. The fans think that it doesn't really matter if he's well prepared or not. He doesn't have a chance against Davis. And all this pretense at inactivity is just a show of power. That's some heavy stuff. Now, Kambosos also had another interesting analysis that I didn't think about before.
They wanted to call me a social media fodder. They wanted to call me a lot of names. Even anybody who tries to put you down and tell you can't become something, remember, you're not who people tell you are, you're who you choose to be.
He thinks Garcia's social media has played a role in this fight. Kambosos noted that Ryan is bringing his extensive social media following into the fight with him against Tank Davis, which is one way of earning the fight. According to the former boxing legend, he thinks that if Garcia didn't have a massive 9 million Instagram following, Davis wouldn't have bothered to fight him. That means he doesn't bring anything to the table, so why would Davis bother with a 24-year-old boxer? Ryan hasn't really fought anyone of note that would make him stand out in the lightweight category. So what's the main thing he's got going for him? It's purely his social media popularity. George Kambosos Jr. says that at the end of the day, Ryan's a good kid with a good head on him. He has a big social media presence, and Kambosos doesn't exactly disrespect him for it. Now, Kambosos also believes that Davis hasn't really fought any big names either. His biggest one is probably Pedraza, and all the other guys he's been matched up with have been pretty second tier. The 29-year-old former champ thinks that both Garcia and Davis are big names. So ultimately, it's a win for the sport. He is a boxing fan after all. So naturally, he's excited about the fight and for the sport in general. And after years of speculation, it looks like the fans are also finally getting to see the rivalry in action. But who does Kambosos think has a higher chance of beating this rivalry? The Australian boxer seems to think that Davis has the upper hand. He believes that Gervonta has got that kind of one-punch KO power that a lot of boxers don't possess, and one that can definitely get him out of tricky situations. Well, now isn't that helpful, but at the same time, he also wonders what the American will do with all 135 pounds of this when he comes across an opponent that won't simply crumble under those vicious blows. He claimed that that's the thing with Tank and his extraordinary one-punch power. He has the ability to stop his foes and take them out, but Kambosos also feels he can't get away with that kind of power right now, and possibly not in the future. When he's facing high-caliber fighters, the stakes might be different, and we'll just have to see if he's able to take those shots when he needs them. And I think with Garcia's speed, he might just have to face the fact that he'll have to rely on something bigger than the one-punch tactic. Well, whether Garcia was crazy to think he could KO Davis in 2 rounds remains to be confirmed, possibly on April 15th. So that's all I got for today. What do you think of the situation? Let us know in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next video.